High-end technology, gadgets and automation found only in billionaires' mansions. There's a comfortable and dangerously wrong belief that luxury technology is an excess, a display of wealth, or a whim of those who are too rich. But the rarely spoken truth is different. Billionaires don't use technology to impress visitors. They use it to eliminate friction, save time, conserve mental energy, and make better decisions. The paradox is clear. The richer they are, the less they want to think about small details. And that's exactly where automation comes in as a silent advantage. While most people struggle with distractions, fatigue, and repetitive decisions, elite mansions function as extensions of their owners' minds. The house thinks, anticipates, protects, and adjusts everything on its own. Not because it's futuristic, but because it's strategic. What seems like luxury is, in practice, efficiency applied to the highest level. And when you understand this, something changes. You realize that the problem was never a lack of willpower, but a lack of intelligent structure around them. Perhaps you don't own a mansion, yet, but the principles behind these technologies are more accessible than they seem. Throughout this content, you'll realize that billionaires don't live better by chance. They live better because they build environments that work for them. The question that remains isn't how much does it cost, but rather, what is the cost of living without this kind of intelligence? Working in your favor? The house that thinks, AI systems that anticipate desires. There are mansions where nothing is asked. Everything simply happens. The light turns on at the exact right shade before anyone even notices the sun has set. The temperature changes silently. The music plays at just the right volume, almost as if the house were in a good mood. It's not magic. It's artificial intelligence learning habits, patterns, and even silences. Gradually, the environment ceases to be a backdrop and becomes an accomplice. Those who live there feel that time stretches further because small decisions simply disappear. These systems observe routines with the patience of an invisible butler. Wake-up times, lighting preferences, days of higher stress, leisure moments. If the resident tends to relax after long meetings, the house adjusts everything automatically. Warmer lighting, discreet ambient sound, curtains closing without fanfare. It's like having someone taking care of the details while the mind remains free for what really matters. And here's something applicable. Even in ordinary homes, simple automations with intelligent assistants are already beginning to create this feeling of fluidity. The most curious thing is that, over time, the resident comes to trust this system so much that they forget it exists. The technology ceases to be on display and becomes the backdrop of life, silent, efficient, and almost humble. Billionaires understand something that few realize. Luxury is not excess, it's the absence of friction. And when the house begins to think for itself, an inevitable question arises. If it already anticipates desires, how far will it go when it comes to protection and control? Military-grade security. Technologies that make intrusions impossible. In billionaires' mansions, security isn't about cameras on the wall or noisy electric fences. That's a thing of the past. Here, the system begins even before anyone gets near the gate. Sensors analyze movement, walking patterns, unusual behavior, and even how a vehicle approaches. If something deviates from the norm, the house enters a state of silent alert, without sirens, without panic, without spectacle. Everything happens behind the scenes, like a game of chess played several moves ahead. Access rarely depends on a single layer. Facial recognition combines with thermal scanning, advanced biometrics, and behavioral authentication. The system recognizes even as a person walks or touches a surface. If something doesn't hit it, doors simply don't respond. In some cases, specific areas of the house automatically isolate themselves, creating safe zones without the resident needing to do anything. It's the kind of protection that doesn't scare those who live there, but leaves any intruder completely lost. The most interesting detail is that this level of security brings a profound sense of calm. You sleep better, you think better, you live better. For those who want to apply something like this to real life, the logic is the same. Layers. Don't rely entirely on a single solution, but combine technology, routine, and attention. And when protection ceases to be visible and becomes strategic, another inevitable question arises. If the house protects the body, who protects the conversations, the data, and the secrets that circulate within it? Absolute privacy. Gadgets that protect conversations and data. For billionaires, privacy isn't a luxury, it's survival. In many of these mansions, silence isn't just the absence of sound, it's active protection. Entire rooms are built to prevent any kind of eavesdropping, blocking external signals, frequencies, and transmissions. Important conversations happen there without cell phones, without hidden microphones, without risk. It's as if the outside world simply ceases to exist for a few minutes. These environments use technologies inspired by Faraday chambers, environmental encryption, and even intelligent noise generators that confuse any attempt at external recording. It's not paranoia, it's prevention. Anyone who has lost something valuable due to excessive exposure learns quickly that not every conversation should be heard. An applicable example? Small actions like avoiding discussing sensitive topics near switched-on devices, using encrypted apps, and creating cell phone-free zones already completely change the game. The curious thing is that this search for privacy brings mental clarity. When you know that no one is listening, ideas flow better, decisions become bolder, and the mind works without invisible breaks. Billionaires understand that leaked information is costly, but protected information generates power. And when data, words, and thoughts are shielded, the home begins to offer something even more sophisticated: total control of the physical and emotional environment, intelligent climate control, and micromanagement of the environment. In billionaires' mansions, the climate is never good by chance. Invisible sensors monitor temperature, humidity, air quality, light, and even noise levels, adjusting everything in real time. If it's been a long day, the house responds with softer light and slightly cooler air. If the focus is on work, the environment becomes brighter, quieter, and more stimulating. The feeling is one of constant comfort, as if the space is always just right. The secret lies in micromanagement. Nothing is extreme, everything is calibrated. Almost imperceptible aromas help reduce stress, while acoustics adapt to the type of activity. Conversations become more intimate, films more immersive, meetings more productive. This fine control changes the mood without the person realizing it. A simple example of how to apply this is using smart light bulbs with variable color temperature, or creating routines that adjust light and sound according to the time of day. Over time, the body begins to respond better to the right stimuli. You fall asleep faster, wake up with more energy, and think more clearly. Billionaires invest in this because they know that performance stems from the environment, not just willpower. And when every detail of the space begins to work in favor of the mind, an inevitable curiosity arises. What if a large part of human tasks simply ceased to exist within the home? Specialized robots that replace employees. In some mansions, there's no rushing around by servants or repeated orders. There are systems that perform tasks with almost elegant precision. Robots circulate silently, cleaning, organizing, serving, and even cooking, each trained for a specific function. They don't complain, they don't get distracted, and they don't make mistakes due to tiredness. The curious thing is that the more advanced the technology, the less attention it attracts. It simply does what needs to be done. These robots learn patterns over time. They know when the house is empty, when the resident prefers absolute silence, or when visitors require a more sophisticated level of service. Some work in conjunction with the central AI, anticipating needs, a table set before the order, coffee prepared at the exact time, an organized environment before anyone even notices the mess. A practical parallel? Automating small daily tasks frees up mental energy for bigger decisions. The real luxury here isn't the robot itself, but the time saved. Billionaires understand that every minute saved on operational tasks can be invested in vision, strategy, or genuine rest. When the house starts working on its own, the resident only takes on the role of thinking and deciding. And then comes a natural transition. If tasks are already automated, what happens when entertainment also ceases to be commonplace and becomes an experience outside of reality? Top-secret entertainment, immersive cinemas, and holographic rooms. In billionaires' mansions, entertainment isn't just a big television. It's a complete sensory experience. Entire rooms are designed to disappear when the lights go out. Walls, ceiling, and floor transform into screens. Sound comes from all sides, and the body feels the scene even before the mind processes it. There are no visible remote controls, no flashy buttons. Everything responds to subtle gestures, almost intuitive commands. Some of these environments use holographic projections and augmented reality to create scenarios that change according to the resident's mood. One day it's a private cinema, worthy of a world premiere. The next, a concert hall or a silent stadium just for two. The most interesting thing is that it's not just about fun, but about emotional immersion. An applicable example is to think of entertainment as a ritual. Dark environment, quality sound, and mindful attention, instead of scattered consumption. When entertainment reaches this level, it ceases to be an escape and becomes mental recharging. Billionaires know that the mind also needs quality stimulation, not just distractions. And, when leisure becomes profound, controlled, and intimate, an almost inevitable curiosity arises. If the interior of the house already seems like another world, what happens in the space where machines and raw power meet? Futuristic garages, automated platforms, and robotic maintenance. For billionaires, the garage isn't an extension of the house, it's a technological sanctuary. Cars don't enter or exit in the usual way. Silent lifting platforms rotate, descend, and align with millimeter precision, as if each vehicle had a reserved stage. Sensors recognize the car even before the engine cools down, adjusting lighting, ventilation, and surrounding space. Everything happens without haste, without noise, without human effort. Maintenance is also almost invisible. Robots perform detailed cleaning, check tires, analyze micro cracks in the bodywork, and monitor engine data while the owner goes about their life. There's no grease on hands or worry about technical details. That's handled by the house's intelligence. A practical parallel? Simple systems for organization and preventive maintenance already avoid headaches and unnecessary decisions in everyday life. Ultimately, this garage represents something bigger: control without wear and tear. Billionaires know that taking care of what is valuable requires systems, not constant attention. When even machines are cared for by other machines, there is more focus left for what really matters. And that's precisely where curiosity expands. If even possessions receive intelligent treatment, what happens when food itself starts to be thought out, calculated, and anticipated by technology? Laboratory kitchens, technology that anticipates nutritional needs. In billionaires' mansions, the kitchen seems more like a research center than a common place to prepare meals. Refrigerators analyze what goes in and what goes out, cross-reference data with recent exams, and suggest meals according to the resident's physical condition. Nothing is random. Food ceases to be merely a pleasure or habit, and becomes a silent strategy for performance, longevity, and mental clarity. Smart stoves automatically adjust temperature, time, and cooking method, while scanners identify nutrients, allergens, and food quality levels. Some systems even warn the body when it needs more energy, a lighter meal, or recovery. An applicable example? Planning meals in advance, reducing improvisation, and treating food as fuel completely changes daily performance, even without cutting-edge technology. The most interesting point is that this automation eliminates tedious decision-making. You don't think about what to eat. You simply trust the system. Billionaires understand that discipline shouldn't depend on willpower, but on structure. And when even food works in favor of the body and mind, a disturbing thought arises. If the internal environment is already precisely controlled, what happens outside, where nature and technology meet? Self-sustaining, gardens and controlled ecosystems. In billionaires' mansions, greenery doesn't grow by chance. Gardens are living ecosystems, monitored by sensors that analyze soil, humidity, light, and even the plant's mood. Irrigation systems release water in the exact amount, at the right time, without waste. Everything is designed so that nature flourishes on its own, without constant intervention, creating a sense of balance rare in urban environments. These spaces go beyond aesthetics. Trees are positioned to regulate temperature, reduce noise, and improve air quality around the house. Some properties have automated greenhouses, smart lakes, and even monitoring of local wildlife. A practical parallel? Taking better care of one's own environment, even a small one, directly impacts mental and emotional well-being on a daily basis. The curious thing is that these gardens function as an invisible pause. Walking through them slows down thinking, clarifies ideas, and reorganizes emotions. Billionaires know that controlled nature is not a contradiction, it's a strategy for balance. And when even the most organic side of the house responds to technology, the ultimate question arises. What exists when everything fails and the world outside collapses? The most valuable room, the bunker of a modern billionaire. Few people realize it, but the most expensive space in a billionaire's mansion is usually not the bedroom or the main living room. It's the bunker. Invisible, silent, and strategically hidden, it doesn't convey fear, but absolute control. There, everything is designed to work when nothing else does. Filtered air, independent power, encrypted communication, and automated inventory are all part of the package, without any apocalyptic atmosphere. These modern bunkers are integrated into the home's intelligence system. If there is any external instability, blackouts, crises, network failures, the system automatically migrates to this safe mode. There is no rush or improvisation, only continuity. An example applicable to everyday life is simple and powerful. Plan for reserves, have alternative routines, and don't depend on a single source for everything. Prevention, at its core, is anticipatory peace of mind. The most interesting thing is that this space is rarely used. It exists so that it's not needed. Billionaires know that true luxury isn't reacting well to crises, but being so prepared that they hardly affect you. When everything has been thought through down to the last possible scenario, all that remains is a silent reflection. How does someone reach the point of thinking about life with this level of strategy from the very beginning? When your environment works in your favor, life changes to a whole new level. After seeing all this, it's hard to continue believing that success, focus, and tranquility depend solely on willpower. Billionaires don't live better because they are special, but because they build environments that remove friction, reduce unnecessary decisions, and protect what is most valuable: time, mental energy, and clarity. Elite technology isn't about visible luxury, it's about invisible control. And that's a game anyone can start playing, albeit at a different level. Now let's take an honest pause. What decisions in your day could be automated? What tires you today could be simplified? Does your environment motivate you or drain you? Small changes, organizing routines, using technology strategically, eliminating excess, already create a powerful domino effect. After all, no one grows by fighting against their own environment every day. Those who make their environment work in their favor grow. And here's a provocative invitation. If you continued living exactly as you are today, where would you be in 5 years? What if you started thinking now like someone who builds systems, not excuses? If this content made you reflect, subscribe to the channel, activate notifications, and continue learning how high-level people think, decide, and structure their own lives. Here, the idea is simple. Less effort, more applied intelligence.